Yeah, or the challenge. It was Ping Lee was in your seat actually, Rob, last year. So,
What are you seeing as some of the other barriers to adoption beyond, the small vendor scenario you described?
well, I mean, so that's the biggest. So, what other ones? I mean, everything. So everything we've seen them sort of derived from that. I think that anytime you come to market with something that is 1 to 2 orders of magnitude better. It's in our case, it's faster, which enables the real time. People have a way of thinking about data integrity that's entrenched. So it's actually like convincing people that good enough isn't good enough. And that's one category of objection, other than you guys are less than 20 employees, you're a small startup. I guess the other is almost 100% of our sales calls, the ultimate choice has been between Kinamik or a homegrown solution. So we're competing with internal IT and engineering resources. And so occasionally we've had customers who say, oh yeah, well, we're already building our own thing and we're going to stick with our own thing. And then, what you expect in that case. I mean, this is the same situation I had when I founded Sensage in the very, very early days of SIM. People said, oh, we're going to build our own, log management system. And then a year later, they were our customers. So. What else?
So you talked about your growth that you saw this last year. What were some of the challenges that you saw as your kind of scale started growing?
What challenges did we see as we started scaling on the product or on the business?
On the customers, on the number of customers. Just the challenges of selling to more customers, selling to bigger customers,
Sure.
kind of that length of the sales cycle. Are people buying it quickly, or is this a long cycle? Now that you're kind of getting in more visibility.
Yeah, it's a great question, Steve, and it's a funny phenomenon because people always remember you the way you were when they met you, and not the way you are today. So we're engaged with customers who met us, in the middle of last year, and it's 9 months later. They haven't pulled the trigger, and it's sort of like, well, we want to spend a little more time on the evaluation, and we want to talk to another reference, and then we met guys. We closed a deal with a video surveillance provider actually on March 30th of this year, and we had met them in February for the first time. So the fact, again, there's sort of this passing lane where the guys who met you when you were a kid remember you as a kid, and they need more proof. And then the guys who met you after you already had references in the government space and demonstrated capabilities in their world, they're just able to move much faster.
How much support is required inside of your organization once companies go live with the product? I mean, how often do they call you? What kind of problems do they call with? What I'm going to do is tell you the truth, but you're not going to believe me. It's almost nothing. I mean, I'll give you an example. We deployed at a large enterprise on an evaluation basis, and we didn't hear from them for a month, and they had 60 days to evaluate the product. We walked them through the installation remotely. It took an hour, and the thing was up and running. They said, okay, we're going to use this. They kind of closed us out. We didn't want to, intrude. We were like, okay, calling. You guys got any problems? No problems. Finally, we had a support call. We said, okay, great. We got a support call. And the support call was, the thing doesn't work. Well, it turns out the thing didn't work because we'd given them a 30-day license and told them they had 60 days to evaluate. The license had expired on the 30th day. And the guy said, so, you got to turn it back on. So, and they used it for 60 days with zero support. And, obviously, they're pretty happy. So. And we hope to maintain that near zero support, but of course we won't. And that's, it's one of the things that's really interesting about our company. I mean, if you look in the book, you'll notice that we were founded in 2006. This is 2011. A year ago, we were pre-revenue. So what does that tell you? That tells you we went for almost 4 years without making our first actual sale. Now, I joined the company. I was brought in the fourth quarter of 2009, so 18 months ago, to take the company to market. And what I encountered, what I found was a company that already had 3 or 4 years of productization, hard work by engineers continuously for all that time, which meant that even though I was pre-revenue, I can get guys like Accenture to actually test and be satisfied and approve and put their logo next to mine and certify me as something they're going to hang their hat on. even though we look like a startup on the revenue side, the technology is actually much more robust than that. I mean, we've been around long enough to have patents issued. You know, most startups at an under the radar conference are talking about we've got patents pending. Like, we actually have patents issued. So,
Great.
we have 30 more seconds, sorry.
I was just going to ask, we've heard a little bit about pharma. What do you see as kind of the opportunities in the financial services space? Is this an appropriate technology for market data, things of that sort?
Yeah, you know, it really is. So the answer is we sort of, you know, everything looks like a nail because we're walking around with a hammer, right? Some places, you know, it may already be a solved problem, but it sounds like any place where you've got data that's mission critical or that needs to be proven authentic to a third party. So if you need to go to court on the data, or if you need to, that's the one case, or if you need to show a regulative auditor. The truth is, I don't know all the different uses of things like tick data and different things in, you know, in stock market applications. I don't know, but I know that there's a lot of regulation around PCI, obviously, as well as consumer privacy assurance around data integrity. And we've seen that not just in the United States, but obviously Europe has led a lot in data privacy regulation. And in fact, we're deep into some conversations with European banks too about ways that they're going to use our system right alongside security information management systems, actually.
Great. Mark, thank you so much.
Thank you.